Hop is not a fan of spoilers. In fact, I accidentally said one because I didn't
It's
know where it was.
not that bad.
But she said a spoiler for me for this episode last week
I
in
did?
the podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Ep3&4.
Indewo and Kedo, which is hello, formerly and informally, and Igbo. Ooh. I have to ask before we get started, did you get your hair re-dyed, or is it just the light hitting it? It looks like really, really purple on the camera.
I think it's just the way light's hitting it. I got it refreshed, is what they'll call it, so then they'll put more dye on top, so if it's fading at all, it gets more color. I think I did that 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it shouldn't, it's probably just my lighting, because I don't have my ring light behind my camera right now. I just have like one light up here. So maybe that's it.
It's like I looked over into OBS and I was like, I see purples and blues.
Colors.
Yeah, all I see when I look at my own hair is it's going gray.
Perfect way to hide it.
Or just leaving.
I was going to Chick-fil-A once, and the lady saw my hair, and she asked me a ton of questions. And she said, yeah, I was thinking about finally dyeing my hair because it's going gray. I was like, hey, but then it's easier to dye. You don't have to bleach it. She's like, thank you. I appreciate that. I was like, it's cheaper.
Yeah, well, especially... Like, because you had really, really dark hair. Like, you had black hair.
Yep.
There it is.
It's there.
Oh, so my brain now just translates, like, if anyone has a hair color for, like, a month, it's like my brain overwrites it, and it's like, well, that's what their hair color's been the whole time.
Yeah, this is my natural hair. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I have also been dyeing my hair at this point for a little over a year.
True. Yeah.
Maybe 2 now.
Because I remember you were telling me that you were thinking about it, and then there was because this was way before we did video. You're just like, I did it.
I think I can probably track it because I don't post a lot on Instagram, so I could probably find on my profile. I think the first time I got it done was, but it didn't look very purple in photos. It was a very dark purple. Was end of January 2021. And then when I got it a bit more vibrant was August of 2021 because I went to a new salon.
And you're like, I'm done with beginner colors. Give me the brights.
Well, like my mom apparently, my niece was asking me one day, she's like, what color am I going to do next with my hair? And my mom said green as a joke. So then I said that to my hairstylist. My hairstylist was like, actually, I know how we could try and pull it off. And like, she gave a bunch of suggestions. So I went back to my mom and I was like, hey, you know how you said green? My mom was like, I was joking. I was like,
I'm not.
I might have an idea, but I would only do it like once a year because it's a whole
process.
Yes.
Yeah. I dyed my hair green once. It was, but it wasn't permanent.
Was it just like the, not shampoos, but like
No, it was like spray paint, but like hair dye.
Oh, okay. I've done those for like cosplays and stuff, or like for Halloween.
Yeah, and so looking back, I don't know why, but
was it not for Charity Palooza?
No, this is like when I was in middle school.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, but like I remember I dyed my whole hair green. And it was at the beach, and it's like I didn't understand the concept of dye, especially not waterproof dye. And so I jumped in the water, and like I dyed my hair, and it was like, yeah, green hair. And then I jumped into the water. Like after it was a while, it wasn't like I freshly jumped in there. And then the salt water just washed it all out because I was at Ocean City. And then after that point, all I started doing was like, because my hair was growing out a little bit more. So like I had my hair pushed up, and then I would just spray the front. And I was like, I don't know why I only did that, but it's just what I did for a while. And I was like, cool. And then I just remember everyone at church is like, oh, do you have a cold? And like, what are you talking about? And they're just like, well, you have the green hair. So I'm just imagining going,
oh my goodness.
I was like, but then it's just me, like, go figure, still me at, like, from then to now still was like, no, it's just hair dye. Just like
the joke just.
It's like, if there was a joke, it is not registering.
That's fun. But yeah, no, I don't know if I'll go for the idea of green, but I think what she had suggested, if I did want to go for a green, you know how I technically have 3 colors in my hair, but sometimes it doesn't show up based on lighting. But okay, if I hold my hair like this, you can kind of see. I go from like purple to a pink to an orange. She was like, what if you do a really dark blue into like a blue green into a really bright green? And I was just like, don't give me ideas right now. my wallet can only take so much. But yeah. Welcome into another installment of us talking about Better Off Ted. Another batch of 2 episodes to squeeze in to make the timeline all work before we go into our
our arbitrary timeline.
Yeah, our pre-planned content. I did roll my dice on my digital dice, but it did go away. Oh, okay. I can pull up the history. So we can roll dice now to kind of talk about to see who talks about the episodes first. We've got 2 episodes, which are episode 3 and episode 4. Yeah, we'll jump into it after Dpayne gets to roll his dice. Which dice did you roll?
My galaxy die. Oh,
is that a new one?
No, it's actually the first die I've ever had.
Oh, okay.
In focus. Look, it's like your hair.
Yeah, a little too close to the camera.
Too close, but yes.
Yeah.
This is the first die I ever bought.
Okay, I always hear you talk about your cheese die.
Oh yeah, this is stinky cheese die.
Green numbers.
Yes, I think I bought this at PAX.
One of those like cup of dice things?
Yeah, it's a Chessex. I don't have any like fancy stone metal die because I'm just like, I can just use some weird plastic ones. So that
I do have fancy metal dice that someone got me as like a gift because they were like, oh, there's a Kickstarter for a company, so tell me which color you like. So the person got, because it was also I think like a little bit of a bundle price if you got more than one set of dice. So then he got himself some colors, I got colors, and then Strider got colors, and they're really fancy, and like you can tell they're machine fancy because if you poke the edges, I'm like, oh, pointy.
Well, like I was watching little videos, I think it might have been TikTok, where they were making copper dice, like big, like this size.
Oh, and how heavy?
I don't know. It was a video. I couldn't hold it.
No, but like copper and all of that's got to be really heavy.
And so, but yeah, it showed him throwing it into a tumbler, and it's like, yeah, we checked it like 20 hours later, and it's still like sharp edges and everything. They're like, hey, back into there, like. And so, like, I think they took it out. I think actually it might have been the whole process like 20 hours, but like they put them in there for like 5 or 10 hours, and then took them out, and then pressed the numbers in there, or hit the numbers in, and then threw it back in, and so that way the tumbling process would smooth everything out. So yeah, it's fun.
Okay. But yeah, so what did you roll before I made you show off your dice?
A 10.
A 10? Okay, I figured I was going to go first.
So what single digit number did you roll?
Okay, it's backwards. It's an 18.
Oh, no, it's not backwards over here. I saw it, like, blurred. It looked like a 10.
But yes, an 18. So then I get to go first, explaining the synopsis of episode 3. So for anyone who isn't familiar with the show is comedy, satire, talking about big companies and how they want to do everything in your life so they can have a lot of money and take everything that they can get. So to not backtrack, but to go over previous things that have happened, we've been introduced to a number of characters. We have Ted, who is the manager, who is a manager of Lem and Phil, who are both scientists in the research department. Then you have Ted's boss, who is Veronica, who he's used as one office affair with. And she is very much Ted feels very much a balance between business and humanity. And Veronica is very much business, money. And then you have Linda, who is Ted's love interest, who is all humanity. She doesn't care about the company. Well, she is at the company for a job. but the company is not her like life in the way a lot of the other characters are. And then you also have Rose, who is the daughter of Ted. Rose is a big part of this episode. So
I also want to say, before we get too far, is that in this bundle I did message Hop saying I found my favorite character in this show.
Yes. So do you want to save that, or do you want me to try and guess who your favorite character is based on this episode?
It was episode 3 is what solidified it, but if you want to take a guess, and then I can reveal at the end of episode 3.
Okay. So my guess right now is your favorite character is Veronica. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind, everybody. We'll see if I get that right at the end of this episode. But, okay, so this episode starts out with Veronica complaining that there are too many false alarms happening down in the lab. And she asks Ted, hey, can you ask people to stop getting into hazmat suits because it uses up too much time? And Ted goes, no. Yes. She goes, why not? And he's like, what if it's not a false alarm? She's like, well, what if they are? So then they kind of like, that's kind of like your beginning opening to the episode. Oh, but then the other thing you have in the episode is Rose is with Ted at work because I believe Ted says the usual babysitter is out of town or unavailable. So he tries to go to the daycare, and at the daycare, he's getting introduced to the daycare, and they're like, this is a great daycare. Today's painting day. And he's like, oh, that's so exciting. What are they painting? She's like, lines in the parking lot. Yes. And Ted's like, did I hear you wrong? She's like, absolutely not. We like to set up our kids for success.
Yeah. Rose, you're coming with me.
So he refuses to leave Rose at the daycare for, pretty straightforward reasons. And there's a little bit of jokes about the kids having no breaks. Like, hey, I discovered this. And she's like, no, back to the lab. Back to your little mini lab station as a tiny scientist. And then Rose is, I think first she's meant to hang out with Phil and Lem, right? And then that's where she makes the comment where she's like, hey, Phil, I didn't know Lem was your boss now. And which was very observant for her. She's a very smart little kid, but that sends Phil and Lem spiraling because they're adult-sized children. And they start to get in their little quarrel is that they keep going back and forth, and the only solution they have come to is that they each are boss for 7 seconds?
10 minutes.
10 minutes each. Sorry, every time they pause, it's like there's 7 seconds left on the timer, and then they prepare to swap off. But yeah, so they each get 10 minutes to be able to be the boss of the two of them, which Ted is like, absolutely not. This is not how this should go. And he tries to deal with that. But then he decides to... and then he takes Rose, and she stays with Linda for a while, which... Rose and Linda get along very well, which makes Ted kind of start to fall for Linda more. And then I forget what happens and then Veronica, I forget the in-between, but Veronica then agrees to start watching over... Ted and Linda needed to go down to the lab, and he didn't want Rose there because they were having meetings and they had to keep rephrasing things. So they were inventing a bomb. They're like, we're dropping the bunny from very high in the sky. And Rose is like, why would you drop a bunny from that high? Yeah. It's fine. But everyone in the immediate area is cuddled to death.
Yeah. And then Ted's like, everyone prepare to have the same exact meeting tomorrow.
If nobody understands it, we'll go over it tomorrow.
Yeah, go tomorrow.
But yeah, so then Linda and Ted need to go to the lab, but he doesn't want to bring Rose to the lab. So Veronica offers to watch her. And one of my favorite lines is, do you know what to do with children? She's like, oh no, you need me to wash Rose? He said, no, I said watch. Yes. And she's like, oh, easier.
Easier, yes.
And he's like, do you know anything about children? And she says, I know they need to be washed. And then, she also makes a comment about the daycare and how a lot of the janitor staff speaks very highly of the daycare system. Oh, my goodness. But yes. And then Rose sits with Veronica, and Veronica basically uses her to start being able to fire people. And tells Rose that she's a natural. And while that's happening, you find out the cause of all the false alarms is that people just wanted more break time. And that the two of them are like, yeah, we know we're going to get fired. And they run into Ted, and they're like, yeah, your daughter fired me. And he's like, what?
She's really good.
Yeah, she did a really great job. but they also had the whole will they kiss moment again with Ted and Linda.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the episode closes out with Veronica trying to find a replacement for Rose. Like, she's walking through the daycare. She's like, do you have one with curly hair?
Yes. Where it's like, that's the defining feature of having someone good, a good person to fire people.
But yeah, I think I cover Is there anything else I missed out on the episode that you wanted to bring up?
Well, like, some of the stuff I guess we could, I think we'll just come out in some of the conversation. But yeah, no, that pretty much covered the majority of it. I also started naming these as reactions rather than reviews, because it's not like we're grading these.
That's true. We're just kind of watching them and having a discussion about what we're seeing.
That being said, like, I looked at the numbers. I know we normally talk about this like off camera, but I'm just like, I was looking because I was opening up and I was just looked at Over the Garden Wall, and I forget that people could listen to stuff after it goes up the week before, because like episode 10 is now double digits.
Ooh, exciting.
So thanks everyone for checking out Over the Garden Wall. It's a good show.
That was a fun set of discussions. Yeah, that was more deep divey. These are kind of partially because we're doing 2 episodes of the show and 1 episode of the podcast. They're not as deep, but also the show itself is like things carry over, but it's not something in the beginning matters in the end.
Episode 4 could potentially bring in deep conversations.
Episode 4 has a lot of social things to talk about. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't think they can make an episode like that today. I still see shows kind of play off of that, because I don't think they said anything terrible. Yeah. We'll save it for episode 4. Anyway, I also want to. There's a little something, a little not beef, but just a little interesting side note for people who listen to the podcast. Know that the Hop is not a fan of spoilers. In fact, I accidentally said one because I didn't know where it was.
That bad.
But she said a spoiler for me for this episode last week the podcast. Yes, because you watched episode 3 before.
Oh,
it's the line where, because I was like, I don't know what happens to like Ted's wife and Rose's mom, and it's like, oh yeah, no, they say that they go to Africa, and then literally the episode opens up, yeah, my wife is in Africa saving the world or something like that, and I'm just like, that's literally what Hop said. She's going to episode 3.
I thought it happened in episode 1 when they first introduced Rose 2 when they're at the dinner together.
I was so confused, like not so like super confused, but when you said that, I was like, I guess I just missed it. And then it was like episode 3 opens
with it
with that line walking.
So we're even now.
Yeah, that was my one. I think one, I don't know, they're both like not even that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like story wise. That's not like Sasuke and Naruto are brother. Oh my gosh. That's not true. Actually, I shouldn't make jokes because I haven't been watching or keeping up, and the way that show works, they probably are.
Yeah.
They probably are now. They're probably also married. I don't know anything about Naruto.
Brother husbands?
I don't know. Anime's weird.
All right, so then the first question I wrote down, so who do you think's the boss, Lem or Phil?
Rose. It's the hard part because it's like when I look at that character, it shows what I think of those two. Like, they're both 2 halves of the same brain.
Mm-hmm.
Where
they need each other, but they don't want to recognize that they need each other.
Yeah, like where Lem can see the problem, like he even in episode 4 you see it, like, of just different things that he brings up, but like Phil is the one that just always like pushing them, and so like Lem will bring a solution, and then Phil will like they like one of them will bring part 1 of a solution, and the other one will finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like they're very much like if Phil wasn't married, pretty sure he would like they would be like, yeah, no, they complete each other.
I do like how Phil also doesn't seem to get along with his wife at all, even though he
Yes.
is married. But yeah, no, that is an interesting point, because a lot of their problems stem from the two of them thinking that they're independent but not recognizing that they need each other, which Ted can see. Ted as a manager is like, you two work best together, because even when they were going to freeze Phil, Ted was telling Veronica in the earlier episodes, like, you don't understand, Phil and Lem are kind of a package deal and do most of the really good research for the team, but as personalities outside of the research, I think just the way that it looks like to outsiders, I can see how Rose saw Lem as the boss, because Lem is very much outspoken to Phil, like, you're doing it wrong, we should do it like this. And it's not that Phil follows him blindly, it's that Phil is just like, okay, I see it, or okay. But as Rose passing by and hears Lem like, Phil, do that, Phil, do this, Phil, we should study it like this, then I can see why Rose was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, where, like, I don't know, I feel like any, like, working relationship would be like that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if people, like, listen to some of our conversations, like, so Dpayne's the boss. Like, no, like, we don't move ahead with unless we both agree. I have way too many ideas, and I just need to get them all out of the brain to move forward. So
and I'm the grounded one.
Yes.
I'm like, as nice as that is, I just realized my calendar does not allow.
Okay, Dpayne, stop.
Let's narrow down what we'd like.
I want to say I've gotten better.
Yes. I remember when we first started this, we both had pretty grand plans, and then as we've done it more and more, we've reined it in, figured out our time slot, and figured out how to be flexible with it.
Yeah. The show has evolved in many different ways, where, like, I don't know, this time last year we never thought about doing video again.
Is this about when we stopped doing video last year?
No, because I don't think we did video at all during 2021.
I thought we did in the beginning, or just the cursed sodas.
Yeah, just cursed sodas, because
that was streamed.
That was streamed, and then that confirmed that we don't want to do streamed episodes anymore. Currently, I should say currently.
It's a different form of entertainment that I think doesn't translate as easily in an audio only format.
Yeah, and so the video stuff, like, is, like, I don't know. I guess it gives it, like, a different light where it's just like, I think it works a little bit better with the episodes where we will have a tier list up, and, like, or quizzes where like people can see what they're doing. But, like, yeah, that's until we make money to hire someone to edit this and make the video stuff and have, like, what we're talking about pop up on screen. This is all we have the time for.
Yes.
But we got backgrounds, and I think at this point when this episode comes up, cool borders and nameplates.
Woo!
Thanks, Fangirly.
Appreciate it.
Don't know if you listen, but I'll still say thanks.
Okay, but I can see that where neither of them comes across as, like, a true boss.
Yeah, like
because they are essentially one character.
Because like for example, the meat episode, like Lem was trying all these things but couldn't work it out because Phil was too busy
accepting his awards.
Yeah, just going around just like, yeah, look at me, I'm the best, and he came in and then was just like, no, okay, we gotta do this, this, and this, and this. It's like the benefits of writing a story. It's like whoever's gonna need to get the job done is gonna be the one that's in charge. Kind
of like having when it comes to, like, stories, like, yeah, you have someone that's like a writer, and then you have the editor that's like, can you explain this better, which helps the writer, which helps the reader. The whole a lot of, like, times
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, a lot of systems having the other set of eyes usually helps a ton. Like, even when I program for work, sometimes my coworkers are like, I don't know the answer, but if you just want another set of eyes, then, like, I can look at it and see where we get.
Every once in a while I get TikToks from this guy that programs, and he's just like, yeah, there's people that look at my work, and it's just like he goes, takes over to, he's like, oh, you want me to look it over? Yeah, sure. He's like, did you write this code? Yeah. He's like, it looks like trash. I know. Does it work? Yeah. Okay.
Not entirely wrong.
I'm like, I don't understand anything about coding. I'm just like, and I'm the same way. I'm just like, I don't care what it looks like as long as it works.
All right. So then my next question I wrote down, would you hire Rose? For the listeners, the question is, would you hire Rose? So immediate yes.
Yeah, she gets stuff done.
Which
I
will-
wish we could have sat in there and watched a firing from Rose. That has
Yeah,
to be a deleted scene.
that would have been beautiful. So that's actually a funny thing because I've also been watching Link Click, which got added to Crunchyroll. I don't know if they also call it anime in China, but it's like, it's Chinese, and they have one episode where it's basically they're doing like final words with different characters, and they get to the characters and he works it out and he goes there and then it goes silent and then the character smiles, and I was like, they couldn't tell us, they let us hear and they couldn't give us the emotional payoff to hear what the final words were. And then you get to the end of the episode and they're like, here's the drama bomb, and I was like, they dropped that but we couldn't get anything he said. So it feels like that to me, where you're like, everyone's like, wow, that was a really good exit interview. I'm totally okay with being fired. I totally understand. That was great. And I'm like, not even a little, I couldn't get a drop of what she said to them. Well, she did do the one thing where the guy started to cry. She's like, it's okay. I cry too.
Yeah, like, well, you saw the first one where, Veronica, which I think one of my favorite, I can't remember the quote, but Veronica, like, is looking straight at Rose and it's just like, I want to weigh your skin so I can make people drop their guard of being emotionally, like, to be emotionally available and stop their freakouts.
She also makes that comment. She's like, you have such beautiful skin. I wish I could have it.
Yeah, well, that's the like the meaning behind it. Like, she wants her skin, and then it was just like, but then also just seeing like how, like, when her boss comes in because of starts to yell at her, and then she's like, child. It's like, oh, hello, dear. And it's just like,
you're the same age as my granddaughter, you precious.
And it's just like, you watch human robot Veronica, just like, yes. Just like.
She hates yelling. Do not yell in front of her.
Yeah, it's like she becomes an animatronic, just like, no.
It was funny. I forgot about that scene with the boss. With their boss is like, all right, just know you need to take care of this, but I'm not mad at anybody.
Yeah, just like,
And Veronica's like, I see. I have found your use in the company.
Yeah.
No,
So.
she is precious. And it's also, like I was mentioning with Spy Family, where there's not a lot of kids I see in media that I think are like, oh, that's a good kid. Rose is a good kid. Mm-hmm. She's clearly very grown up for, probably some reasons, but
Well, with these adult children, she is a very good voice of reason.
Yes.
Yeah, like, but it's still like she isn't played as an adult, because like you can even see it with, like, in this episode where she is still a kid and she doesn't understand that Veronica is literally using her. Mm-hmm. And
but, yeah, she sees it as like, it almost
just hanging out time.
Yeah, and I think she almost sees it as kind of like being in a play or something, because at the end when Veronica is like tying her hair up into like a bun, she's like, okay, well, that was fun. Can we see each other again? Because it comes off, I think she sees it more as like, I was helping Veronica and it was fun and I learned a lot from her, whereas Veronica is like, you were a tool, I will use you as I need.
So, and then Veronica says something at the end too, where she, like, is that when she makes the skin comment where, like, she's just like, okay, and like, because she gives like a very like, what the heck was that, and like walks away.
Probably, yeah, because I know Ted is, he's very protective of Rose. He wants to make sure Rose is okay because it's, his only daughter, and he's bringing her around the corporation and everyone's saying things around her, and he's just like, was this a mistake? Should I not have brought her here?
Mm-hmm. So, well, and then I guess the spicy part.
Mm-hmm. It kind of directly leads into it. The whole Linda and Ted situation. How do you feel about it?
I think I understand where Ted comes from. Mm-hmm. And I can't fault him for it. However, it's just like, I also understand it's a show, you gotta create drama. Mm-hmm. However, it's like, that's the thing where we don't know how long Linda has been here. and it's like we don't know how long things have happened. I can't remember if it's in episode 4 where the one affair rule is because in the beginning I thought it was a company rule, but I think in like episode 4 the way they talk about it, it's a Ted rule.
It sounds like a Ted rule to me with the way how it's like presented to us as the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Because
oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say because in the later episodes you don't really hear Veronica. I think it'll come up more in episode 4 with how she interacts with it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I don't really blame it, either Ted or Linda, but it's like, the thing is, it's like, because we know Ted's inner working of just how the monologues go, I understand, and I was like, no, I do support that decision where you're like, you don't want her to get attached to someone and then see them leave.
Yeah.
And, like, if it was just him, it's like, okay, I can take care of it. But, like, for his kid, like, having, like, his daughter become emotionally invested in somebody, like, it's something, like, not in my own life, but, like, my brother, like, with his daughter, it's just something I'm like, I don't think about it all the time, but it's, like, one of those things where I'm like, he's still young, and, like, he has expressed, like, he would like to get into a relationship again once things get stable, and it's just like, hey, well, how is that, like, when I guess his ex-wife, I was about to say my niece's mom, but yeah, his ex-wife and my brother start dating, and if they get married again, like, it's just, okay, well, if you start a family, make sure you still take care of number one. Which I don't see my brother denying and, like, turning away her, and I think my brother has gained wisdom through all this situation. I should also, just to be clear, I don't blame one over the other for their breaking up either. Like,
relationships are complicated.
Yeah, I don't even know everything about it, but it's just like, I guess from, like, my perspective with, like, literally my brother going through something just like this, except he doesn't have custody. But he still is able to see her. It's like, yeah, no, I can understand Ted's reasoning, but at the same time, I guess I would just, I don't think he should shut out all relationships like he's doing. But sorry, I cut you off.
I was going to say, I think just to backtrack a little bit, I don't think I mentioned this, but basically another part of a big thing that happens in the episode is Linda shows off that her and Rose got along so well that Rose drew, like, a cute little, like, picture, like, holding hands as if they were a family, which Ted was like, oh, I really like this. And then Linda gets frustrated because HR tells her during one of those false alarms where they had to put on the suits that she wasn't going to get paid for it because it was break time. So Linda's like, you know what? I'm just going to run away. I'm going to go to this cabin. I'm going to live in the middle of nowhere. No one can bother me. I can't do anything wrong. And then Ted snaps and is like, I can't do that to her again. Which, like you said, it's very fair where she clearly is looking for a figure, feminine influence in her life. And he thought maybe that could be Linda. But then Linda is very flip of a coin. Even in the next episode, you see her. She's very back and forth, which in itself is, he's like, oh, I have a daughter to think about. It's not just what I want. I also need to make sure she's okay. Yeah. But he definitely, I feel like, uses it as an excuse sometimes. Like, I get it that you don't want to be so close to someone and then see them, and then lose someone. But then on the other hand, it feels like he just won't ever let himself think of anybody. He's like, oh, this would be nice, but I have a daughter. Oh, this could be fun. I have a daughter. I could consider this, but I have a daughter. I'm like, Ted, we get it. You have a daughter.
And it's the other thing, which is, I think, my big problem with just sitcoms and TV shows is where, like, I'm pretty sure this problem would been solved of just, hey, can we just sit down and let you know what I'm thinking? Because it's like, I think he's tried, like, well, at the moment, he doesn't really explain himself, but I feel like in the next episode, which it's probably, unless there's something else we want to talk about, is probably a good transition point. Actually, I just thought of something that is pretty funny to talk about for just a quick mention.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's one of those things, to finish my first thought, was like, I'm pretty sure if Ted sat down and talked with Linda, just like, look, I like you, but these are just something I have to consider. And like, and I don't know, this might come up later, of just like, of this is the reason why, Rose, and like, of just certain things why I'm being careful. And it's like, and then that will give you an answer immediately of, based on their reaction, if this is a person worth pursuing.
Yeah, but I think the other thing that's complicated about Ted is that he's selfish in terms of he doesn't want to lose the chance. So I can see it where someone, like in person, not just in sitcom format, but I can see it where someone in person would avoid that conversation because they don't want to do the whole, if I have this conversation, that means I'll never have the chance with them. Yeah. Because it does sound like a final, like, you know, this, where Ted is like, I want it, but do I want it that much? But I don't want to say no, because what if?
Yeah, he's very people smart until it comes to himself.
Yes.
The only other thing I thought was funny to mention in with episode 3 is how Lem and Phil resolve their conflict, where Lem is putting on a suit, and Phil's like, well, where's my hazmat suit? And then they look over and see it's locked in the office. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? To Ted returning and seeing Lem and Phil sharing a hazmat suit.
And they're so happy. They're so excited. They're like, we get along now. And Ted's just
like, okay.
No, I think Ted says, whose idea was it? And they go, both of ours. And he goes, yeah. Okay, good for you. Good.
Okay. Moving on. Yeah. It's I feel like in all these episodes there's the two stories. There's the Lemon Phil story, and then the Ted Veronica Linda story.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah. So I guess I got to explain episode 4 now.
Yes.
Alright, so the fun pun. So yeah, episode 4 starts off with actually Lem and Phil talking, and I think Phil says a line of like, do you ever think like the things we look at is just looking up at us and thinking that we're like gods or some of the lines of that? And Lem's like, no. And then,
I think the argument, they're like, I don't know what they're called, but it was different organisms. He was like, yes, with these, but never those.
Yes. So Phil leaves, and then the lights shut off, and then Lem's like, okay, what's going on here? And he's like, I'm still in here. And then Phil comes back, and the lights turn back on, and this happens a few times, and then we find out that the company that I'm totally blanking on the name of, Viridian, thank you, installed a new lighting system. I think they said picks the reflection, the moisture reflection off his skin, and it gets everyone but black people. To where becomes an issue, obviously, to where Lem finally, like through the pushing of Phil, goes and gets all the black people together to go up and confront Veronica, to where that has results. And, to where I think is a pretty funny plan of the first plan was
hiring people.
No, it wasn't the first one where they look and they make a water fountain.
No, that's the second one.
Okay, that's the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, and so they hire white people to follow around black people to keep the lights on and like have everything work. And then they complain about that, and so then they just make an extra
I think the
copy.
only person that complains about that is Lem, because Lem complains
Lem
that
gets
the person.
To be fair, he gets a very bad partner for what he has to do.
Yeah, where they're in the lab and this guy's like tasting things, smelling things, trying to light things on fire. Like everything you never want to happen in a lab.
Yeah.
And they do joke about it where another person who's maybe in like more of a business sector because he's wearing a full suit instead of a lab coat is like, my guy gets me coffee, he schedules my meetings, he answers phone calls, he's like, he picks up my dry, it's perfect. And Lem's like, what?
Yeah.
So
I think they both say like, I got a bad white, and the other one's like, I got a bad black, and they're just like,
yeah, they're just staring at each other, uncomfortable. And then to combat it, Lem does the math to prove why the math is bad. Like it would cost less money to replace the system than it would to hire all these people.
Yeah, well, that's how the episode ends, with them all coming together. But side story B, or story B, or whatever we want to call, Linda decides to get revenge against Ted, where she tells him that she's meeting her old ex-boyfriend, and tries to make Ted jealous, except Ted likes Don. There we go. Then I was like, is that his name? Yeah, so then Ted likes Don, which plan backfires, and which I thought was just a funny scene of Ted's like, I don't understand. And then the person who has to explain it is Veronica, because it's like, you're now in her realm of like interpersonal relationship stuff of like, no, she is actively trying to make you jealous. To where what was it? Ted has to make a decision at the end of the episode. But yeah, like, I figure everything else will kind of come out as we chat.
As we go through the episode. Okay. So then my first question I wrote out for you is, what did you think of Don?
He's too good.
Yeah, he was too perfect, right? It was funny though, like they did set up the expectation that Ted was going to meet up with him and be like, I hate him, he's a stupid guy, blah, 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 blah. But then he goes and hangs out with him. He's like, huh, you know all this, you know how to name every, North American saltwater fish or freshwater fish?
Yeah. It was
you're really good at racquetball. You studied in Paris, France. You know how to make chocolate croissants. Like, he has, like, he speaks French and he does all this stuff. You can tell Ted's jealous in the beginning, because in the very beginning of the episode, too, Ted is like, hey, Linda, sorry that we can't be, that we won't be, And she's like, hey, this is my now boyfriend, Dawn. And Ted's like, all right. And then they get on the elevator together, and Ted gets off the elevator, and Linda's like, we're on the same floor, Ted. He's like, yep, I am very aware.
I like this floor. What was the other line? It was just like, oh no, she saw me look at her. Oh no. Oh no, she saw me look at her again. Oh no, now I gotta go and talk to her to make sure it doesn't look weird.
Yeah, because he's like, she's gonna think I'm obsessed with her because I keep looking over at her, making eye contact. I did it again.
Yeah, it's high schoolers.
Yes, high schoolers, adult children. Yeah, and then he goes over and then accidentally agrees to like go on a man date with or I guess a bro date, because they agree to go to racquetball or whatever. And then Ted falls in love with them. Goes to Linda the next day. Hey, he's a really great guy. He's super smart. He's a catch. He's all these things. And Linda's like, fun, good.
It's like, you took away her creamer, and now I don't think she's doesn't show her going back in the bathroom and wasting all the paper.
Yeah, but I agree that he seems too perfect, because it's like anything you'd imagine in like a rom-com, he checks the box. He's like, oh, he travels, he volunteers, he helps people. Was he a doctor too?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember everything.
No, but he did seem like so nice, nice that he didn't realize he was getting used by Linda. Which is unfortunate. Maybe that's his fatal flaw.
He's too trusting.
Also, because doesn't they have that weird interaction where they like act like they're gonna go on a double date with like Veronica and Ted? Like, Don's like, hey guys, let's go on a double date, let's all hang out. And then Linda and Ted are being really awkward and weird about it, and Don is just like, okay, everybody have a good day, even though this was weird.
Yeah, I'm just like, you can do it. And then I do like how Don thinks that Ted and yeah, Ted and Veronica are dating, right? And they're just like, and Veronica's like, no.
No, absolutely not. Why would you even consider this?
Yeah. All right, I was gonna look up the wiki real quick to see if I can find anything about Don.
Okay. Is he listed as characters?
No, he's not. He's not even a reoccurring character.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. Whatever this place is. Yeah. No, he doesn't even have a
page on him.
A page.
Let's see. What happens if I just Google Don? He just kind of comes up for the episode. Oh, I forgot about how bad Veronica's speech is when they go in to tell her
that was one of the things I wanted to talk about.
I guess, yeah, we can go into that next about the solutions the company came up with. I thought the second solution was the water fountains. Maybe it was the first solution, and then they said that was a bad look, so then they did the hiring. So I think you might have been right.
Let's see if...
I didn't see it listed in the...
Yeah, okay, yep.
It is the first one.
It is the first one, and then it goes on from there. But yes, I was telling my brother about this, and it was just like, Veronica's speech is like, I understand your pain. I used to be what was it, like, I can't remember.
I was a 5'9" beautiful teenager
that didn't get all the men, but I sure got a lot of them. And
yeah, she said, I was bullied relentlessly by the girls in my school. If it wasn't for the comfort of college-aged boys and modeling contracts.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is no.
And then I think my favorite thing was whenever in that episode she just told everyone, walk away tall. Walk away tall.
And they'd be like, chin down. She's like, no, chin up.
Chin up, walk away tall.
Oh, I realized we jumped into this. Who is your favorite character from episode 3?
Shoot, now I literally forgot their name. I'm so good at making favorite. Where did the list go? There it is. It is Veronica.
It is Veronica. Yeah. I thought so. With the way that she handles Rose.
Oh yeah. Well, like how she handles everybody so far.
It's funny. Oh, yes. I also forgot to mention something funny I just remembered from episode 3 is there's a kid janitor.
Yes, I remember that at the end. And Ted's just like, oh, there you go. And
he's like an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my goodness. Anyway, okay.
I think he like says right before that kid was like, yeah, and we're now talking about like what the daycare actually should be doing with the kids, and then the kid walks in as a janitor and just like, hello.
Yeah, so she had that terrible speech.
Yeah, and then but it's like it just confuses them up to the point, and then
I think Phil starts the clap. One of them starts the clap as if like she said something monumental, and then everybody else is like, oh yeah, good speech.
I thought it was Phil's friend.
Oh, was it Phil's friend?
Oh no, actually it might have been. Yeah, it was Phil. I got the character mixed up, and that's when like everybody else in the room was just like, what? But yeah, it's sorry, I'm just like reading like how people are going in there, and then it's just like whoever wrote these synopsises just really had fun.
Yeah, since we noticed that idea goes over about as well as a stripper at a church revival.
Mm-hmm.
Silly.
And then it was where was it? It's like, meanwhile, Linda being a model of maturity.
I do like. So when it came to of course their first solution was awful, which was separate water fountains, and it's like, oh, so we've gone back, and this is not, you can't do this. So they immediately take that back because terrible press. And then they do hire like minimum wage white employees to follow them around.
Do you remember what that operation was called?
No.
Operation White Shadow.
It's so bad. And then I like when Lem was already frustrated with his guy, it only got worse. Because then he was like, I have to shadow you. He's like, yeah, so you follow me around. He's like, no, I have to mimic your every move. he's like, no. He's like, I can't afford to lose this job. I haven't had a job in years. And he's like, I wonder why. As he's like pretending to take off glasses and then like yelling as if as Lem is.
Yeah, I do like before they hire all the people to follow the black people is well, there's a few things where like, because this show came out in 2008, right?
I think it was 08. I can double check while you go through your thought process.
Yeah. Well, like one of them was like, it was just interesting, like, because a line that they say that Veronica says very much sounds like a line that people would say today when Ted's like, you can't have a system that doesn't see black people. So no, we say it sees, and just she lists off like all like,
everybody else,
everyone else, and I'm like, I didn't even realize, like, and there were still some of the terms I'm like, that makes sense, but like some of those terms, like mainly just of where I was at 2008, like I'm not surprised I didn't hear about them, but it's just like I'm like, oh, okay, this wasn't.
I was gonna say it looks like it aired in 2009.
2009, still like
about you had the right time frame, but no, I do also think it's funny that she definitely has the same, like the writers definitely wrote it in the ways that like big companies would do it, where that line feels like, hey, company, you do realize you don't have any characters of this in your game. They're like, but we have everything else. Ignore the problem. Look at all the good. And Ted's like, what?
Yeah. But the other thing that I thought was just funny, whereas they're just like, yeah, we're going to go give Veronica a piece of our mind. And they're all standing in the elevator like, we didn't think this through.
And then they're like, we shouldn't have let the white guy off the elevator. And Lem was like, what did you think he was going to do?
Yeah, and then so they're all just standing there, and then the elevator opens up, and then there's Phil.
And he's like, I thought you guys might need some help.
Yeah, he's like, and they're all like, yeah! And they go up.
And they do their march.
But yeah, so then, and then as you were saying, the final thing where there's just like, they did the math, and it's just like, because that's when Veronica starts like stressing out, because they're like, well, now we hired too many black people, and so that's throwing off the ratio, so now we have to hire we have too many white people, that's throwing off the ratio, so now we have to hire more black people,
because they're saying it's discrimination to only hire white people. And they're like, but we're not hiring white people to discriminate, we're hiring white people because our system discriminates. Yeah.
And then as they say that, like I remember when they're in the meeting, and then it's like they like look at like they have to cue Veronica in for her to say her line. She's like, yeah. Just gets on into it.
Yeah, I think it was such a funny pyramid of a presentation, because they're like, if you keep at this rate of hiring, you'll have to hire every person on the planet, and there's nobody says anything, and Ted goes, wow, there's not enough room in the parking lot for 7 billion people.
And they're like, oh.
That's what clicks. And then and Lem's like, yeah, so imagine, and then they go, and imagine the cost of health care. Oh, no. And they're like, that's oh, no.
Yes.
And that's her line. Wow, it sure seems cheaper to take in and put the old system than pay all these people.
I think she gives herself, like, she's like, yeah.
Yeah, she gives herself, like, the pat on the back.
Yeah, so that was and then it's like at the end where like, was it Lem's like, yeah, it's just they're like, oh man, you did good. And he's like, yeah, I'm just good to have things go back to normal. And he's taking a drink of the water fountain, and then like Viridian's upper level
crust,
I saw what it said there. And they come in and they just take a picture with Lem drinking from the water fountain.
Yeah, just with like, him not even. Yeah.
And he just looks like, what the.
And then it says, I think the article title is like Viridian sees you now, or something like that.
Well, the fun thing is like their little like kind of promo ad for the company that they put in different spots. It was like after the first thing, that's when they put in the Viridian ad, and like I wrote down what their like little ending thing was, where they're like, diversity, good for us.
Is this the same one where they said they were doing the We're a Family, and families gets together on holidays and weekends? That's why That's why you work holidays and weekends, because we are family.
I think that might have been the one before, because that was
3.
family based. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like whatever they're talking about is like what the whole theme of it is. But yeah.
But no, I did like that short, if it was episode 3, where it's like, you know who's important? Family. And you know who we don't get mad at? Family. And that's why we're always together and never go home, because we are family. It's like, oh, toxic. But okay. No, the blurb is funny. The good for us, that does feel like every like secret company slogan.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't have to be a big company. There's some times where, like, I remember it helps that I was related to the owners, but I called them out because of how they were treating an employee. Like, not like on purpose, but it was just like, this guy's been doing this, like, and the stuff you give entry-level employees for 3 years, while you keep giving other people, like, the position to run the laser. But all those people you give the position to run the laser leave, and this dude's been doing the thing for 3 years. Like, maybe you might want to, like, bring him up a little bit. He's still gonna pull the parts, like, because that's what needs to happen. And then it was like, within that month, oh, look who all of a sudden got to learn how to run the lasers. And it's just like, guys, I shouldn't have been the one to tell you this.
Yeah, that's a shame.
But yeah. I think
so. I was gonna say, so then to the end of the episode, were you surprised at how Veronica acted towards Ted?
It was surprised. Like, it was interesting, I guess, because like, well, I guess I didn't say what it. I'm trying to remember what even happened, like how it happened.
It was what I'm considering is specifically how he is he's stressed out about the Linda Dawn situation, and then she was stressed out about, like, this was, I think, right before the final meeting. She's stressed out about the money, the management, her bosses, you know, keeping everybody happy while keeping the company face happy. And then Ted's like, you know what? What if we, you know? And Veronica at first is like, yes. And then Ted's like half undressed. And then Veronica goes, you know what? No. Ted's like, I wish you would have said something before I pulled my pants down, essentially.
Yeah.
And then she had a very human moment with him, which I think you hinted at, where she explains to him that it's not that Linda is upset that Ted's friends with Dawn. It's that Linda has feelings for Ted, and that by Ted acting like friends with Dawn would essentially mean that he doesn't have feelings for Linda anymore. So then, and then she also admits, like, I know, like, we could do this right now, but you wouldn't be thinking of me, you'd be thinking of Linda. And then Ted goes, what do you mean, Linda?
Yeah. Like, and, like, I guess, like, a quick look would be like, that's a little bit out of character, but it's just, which it is, like, everything, and it's a very human thing, but at the same time, it's like, her narcissistic self's like, no, I want you thinking about me. But
and she's also, to get to the position she is, she has to also just be a very smart, like, even though she doesn't like people and she's not a people person, she needs to be able to read people on the dot to be able to, like, be a businesswoman.
Yeah, and so it's like, I think we just see, like, it's more than her just sarcastic bossing people around. It's like, you see she does understand like a certain side of people, and it's just like, and speaks to it. So, like, it was, like, I thought it was interesting to see that point, and then it's just like the next day, just like, I bought you underwear because the ones you had did not, like,
suit you.
Yeah, it did not suit you. And that's what it was.
And Ted's like, what is happening?
Yeah. And then I think they literally tell Linda when they come in, it's like, yeah, just holding a bag with underwear my boss bought me. And they just move on. Like, they don't even,
as if it's normal.
But no, it's, I guess I do like it because it gives more, it rounds out the character of Veronica, because, like, up to this point she's just like, me, yes, do this.
She comes off very harsh, very cold, and all that, but yeah, it does add a little bit of complexity to her character. And I think it also creates a moment for Ted to actually realize he should be listening to her, Because before this point, we usually see Ted say, no, Veronica, no, we shouldn't do that. No, that's not the right decision. But that he, even though he has to, like, disagree with her a lot of the time to balance out what she wants versus what's actually, like, the responsible thing to do, he hears the advice and goes, she's not wrong. It makes sense, and I should follow through, which he does. Yeah. Which is kind of cute to see, because it's very stupid, but he does.
I hate him.
He can choke on his stupid fish, and I bet his crepes aren't even that good. Oh, I forgot that scene. That one made me laugh. Where Linda is like heating up crepes, which Don hints that he got a recipe straight from a chef in Paris because Linda said she liked them. He's like, "Oh, teach me the recipe so I can make them even when we can't be out here in Paris." And then Ted goes, "Is that one of Don's croissants?" And she's like, "Oh, there's none left."
Part of me is just wondering if there's like an episode, it'd be funny if there's an episode in season 2 where it's just like we find out that Ted and Don have still been friends or hanging out.
Secret friends. No, but yeah, these episodes are fun. So now I will ask you, so now that you're 4 episodes in, do you still see this as just a general sitcom and you're not a fan, or are you kind of enjoying it?
Like I lost my notes. There they are. I don't think it's. I think I'm enjoying it more, and like I think I'm realizing it's like the way they're telling stories is very similar to the other sitcom, technically by title, that I like, which is Always Sunny. Always Sunny it's very sarcastic and 2 stories going alongside. And normally where the characters start are different by, like, their thoughts are different by the time they get to the end of the story. While, like, I feel... I'm trying to think of the other... I don't know, would Fresh Prince be considered a...
That's a sitcom.
Yeah, because I like that. And so... Yeah,
that one's just a very family-based sitcom.
Yeah.
You know, all the antics are, like... about the relationship between the family and each other.
And so I do like that. So I guess, but like the thing is, like, a sitcom is not going to be like my first choice to watch, because like when I think sitcom, the first thing that pops in my head is Friends, and I can't stand Friends.
Laugh tracks.
Yeah, and where my friends like Itisdpayne hates Friends, and like out of context, it's like it doesn't sound like I'm talking about the TV show. But like the bits and pieces I saw of Friends was just like, it seemed like one of the characters was like, well, I want to go spend a night with that character or this other character, and then like, here's some random side story, and I'm just like, what was the progression, or like what was the point of the episode? Okay, so at least in Better Off Ted, you can see from episode to episode things that they've introduced are actually like happening and carrying over. Yeah, like, yeah, there's that, but like, I think the humor is also closer to what I would like prefer to watch, where it's just like, at least so far, these 4 episodes are very like absurdist, like where it's just absurd. Yeah, it's pretty absurdist. A lot of sarcasm and a lot of satire. Which satire is like one of my favorite forms of humor. Like one of my favorite comedies is Airplane. I still haven't watched that. I've heard good things. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones because it's satire, but it's like the things in Airplane is like a lot of the jokes are also super literal. And so it's like, Shirley can't be serious, and he's like I think he responds, he's like, my name's not Shirley. Oh, I've heard that before. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like that's a common joke. And there's another one where it's just like, the pilots turned to Jello, and then it's this giant Jello mold of a man just sitting in the pilot seat just jiggling. But it's just the thing that's interesting is like, I really like Airplane, and I remember me and my very terrible roommate at the time, who loves Friends, we both watched it, and he hated it he hated Airplane but loves Friends.
So it's the different sides of humor, being able to enjoy them. Okay.
I'm not going to say that's a 1-for-1 case, because I don't think I watched that movie with someone else that loves Friends. But, yeah, it's... but at the same time, Leslie... I forget his name now. But he's the guy that... It's Leslie something. Excuse me. He also does... he does a James Bond spoof, and it's very much the same. I was look it up.
Okay.
Because not movies, movie.
Nielsen.
Yeah, yes.
I recognize him. Naked Gun.
Yes,
that's the spoof. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they're very similar. Where there's the famous GIF from that where it shows them shooting guns at each other, Leslie Nielsen and the enemy are shooting guns, and then the camera pans out, because it looks like they're just shooting across the field, and they're 6 inches apart from each other, missing shots.
I'm trying to see what I recognize him from, because or does he just have one of those faces? Maybe I recognize him from Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he was in a lot of stuff.
He's in mostly satire, from what I can see.
Yeah. But he also looks like, what's that comedian? I'm blanking on his name now. Let's see. I know. Steve Martin.
Okay, I can tell Steve Martin apart from this guy.
Yeah, well, a quick look, just it. I don't see Steve Martin looking like this dude, but it's just
2 comedians with white hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize he was in Scary Movie 4. I don't think I watched that one.
I know I watch a lot of the scary movies. That's why I was curious if I recognized him from one.
Oh, he's in 3.
Yeah, I don't remember watching 3 and 4.
Oh, he's the same character in 3 and 4.
That's funny.
Let's see.
He's only in 2 episodes of Murder, She Wrote. He's in 1 episode of Golden Girls.
Oh, he's Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, I did not watch that either.
Wait a second. Spy Hard. Did I watch that? I did watch that. Wait. No, I didn't. I was thinking of a different movie. Anyway.
He has a long list of films.
I remember Surf Ninjas.
Maybe it's a lot of trailers for the spoof movies, because he's in a lot of different spoof movies.
Yeah. He probably likes it.
I imagine it's got to be fun, because
he's also a lot of TV movies. Sorry, I cut you off.
Okay. No, I was going to say, it's got to be a lot of fun, because, some people act because they want to, bring something to life, and some people want to act because it's fun. And I get that vibe from him, and that's okay.
Yeah. I'm just scrolling through, and it's I forget that there was, in my head, I know that there's TV shows in the 70s. But, sometimes I forget that there's TV shows in the 70s.
Yeah.
Is he dead? He did die. He died in 2010.
Oh, that's a long time ago now. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, so thank you for listening to this far. We would always appreciate it if you left a review on your favorite listening methods. We will give you a shout out if we can find them. If we haven't shouted you out, send us a DM on twitter.com/pointlessdisco and we'll be able to shout you out. That was a double appreciate interacting with us on Twitter at twitter.com/pointlessdisco. Triple appreciate if you share us with a friend or enemy or family member or any and all of the above. And I think those are all the appreciations. My brain's kind of dead.
Not good. I was just scrolling through to make sure there wasn't any messages on the YouTubes, because now you can watch it. Whoa.
Yes. Feel free to also if you interact with us on YouTube, maybe you'll get shout outs through there if we can remember to check our comments before we jump into things. Anchor puts us on so many places and I always forget all of the places.
Yeah. But we're glad to do it. It is interesting looking at the analytics of how they changed it, and now I don't understand. Oh, is it the most recent episode?
I never understand it when they change analytics on me. I always memorize, like, oh, this is the part where I want to look at these. And they move it, and I'm like, I'm lost again.
Well, now that it looks like they rank your episodes of where it lies with all the other ones.
What? Where's that at?
If you click on... Excuse me. Was it overview? No, you click on episode, I think you could...
Oh, I see dashboard episode rankings.
Yeah. I don't know how I got to it now. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, yeah. Right there. So now we don't have to... That one thing that we kept saying was like, what is it? Oh, interesting. Flight of the Conchords is slowly creeping up.
Got it catching up, huh?
Yeah. And then... Yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like within the first month we average about 10 listens. Which, hey... If we're not doing meme ones, it's like... It's better than nothing.
Yep. Alright, do you have anything else to announce or say before we call this an episode?
Next week we're doing episode 5 and 6. And then after that we'll be doing single eppies.
So we'll have more time to really jump into episodes.
Yes. And then... Oh boy.
Movie time.
Yes. AKA spread Halloween out to 3 months like people do with Christmas.
Who needs early Christmas? We need early Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. My brain was trying to think of something funny, but then the other part of my brain is like, hey, guy, you also need to do food prep. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, so... I was going to tell everyone, hey, I hope you enjoy your 3-day weekend, but that would be last week for the time you guys hear about this. So, Hop, I hope you have a fun 3rd-day weekend.
Yeah, it's 2/3 over.
Yep. Mine's 3/4 over. All right. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.